Hello and welcome to Creating Hope in Our Community, Healthy and Happy and Camglen Radio's campaign for promoting good well-being and ultimately suicide prevention. Today I'm speaking with Lorna New, Wellbeing Project Coordinator for Aberlour. Lorna has worked in the third sector for 30 years, paid and unpaid, supporting adults and young people who have experienced abuse and violence. She is now an art therapist and has since worked with children and young people who have experienced trauma to express their feelings, understand and process difficult experiences. Lorna currently works at Aberlour as a Wellbeing Project Coordinator and facilitates mental health and wellbeing groups and creative activities for young asylum seekers. First question, Lorna, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for having me along.
Not at all, absolute pleasure. So, for listeners who are perhaps not aware, can you tell us a little bit about who Aberlour are?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Aberlour are a children's charity. We are, I think, the largest Scottish children's charity. We have 50 services throughout Scotland, and the services vary, but the kind of main ethos is supporting children who may experience disadvantage. So we there's residential services, fostering, disability, children and young people and their families who are experiencing domestic abuse, and mental health services, disability. So got lots of different services.
Sounds like a very well-rounded
Yes.
service, and there's something for everyone.
Yes,
Yeah. What was it that inspired you to get into a role like this?
So my background has always been working in the community, and I used to work at a Violence Against Women project, supporting women and young women. But before that, before I worked there, I went to art school, and then after some years of working in the community, I realised, I decided that I would like to kind of combine my art experience and interest with still working with people, and I went back to retrain, became an art therapist, and since then I've worked with mostly children and young people, and it's an area that I've really enjoyed working in, and obviously wanted to continue in, and this has kind of brought me to where I am today.
Excellent. Okay. Now, if we could focus on your work in supporting children and young people first. So, What kind of challenges have the young people you support faced, and what impact does that have on them?
Yeah, children and young people can often experience quite difficult things, and the impact that has on them can kind of show in different ways as well, obviously depending on the young person. It might be they're having sleep difficulties, they may be presenting as more anxious or more worried. It's maybe affecting if they're able to go to school or how they behave in the classroom, or you might notice a difference in how they're responding to things, maybe how they're able to regulate themselves or not. Also, I think impact on young people as well can be as they're trying to manage difficult feelings, difficult emotions. They might hurt themselves as well, as part of just trying to kind of cope with what's going on for them.
It's difficult at that age where you are still learning about the world, but
Yes.
you're dealing with these complicated feelings
Yeah.
as well, and it's not hard to see why a child in that situation or a young person in that situation would act out a little bit.
Yeah, and I think as a grown up, that can feel overwhelming. So for a wee person, it can feel quite overwhelming and kind of maybe spill out in these different ways. And it might be maybe a young person might be scared to tell somebody, or they've been told not to tell somebody, or the young person might be worried about, like, maybe if it's been around someone in the family has passed away, they might not want to upset the other person by talking about it. So there's a lot of different different factors, like, kind of influence, like maybe how the young person will be and what might be stopping them from being able to speak about it. So I think maybe having access to maybe meeting with a counsellor or a therapist can be really helpful, just for that kind of safe space that's for them, and they can just take those worries and big feelings and maybe be able to express them, get them out, or and having someone to share that with, and then maybe take it from there as to what happens next.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Earlier on today, and I guess this would be like the last episode for those listening, I was speaking to Ellie Bather from St Andrew's First Aid, and she does some work in supporting children as well. And I think it's really interesting to think about how, some of those experiences at a young age can affect you way into adulthood and totally shape the person you are. So it sounds like the work you're doing would go a long way in maybe taking someone off a path that they've been put on by life's circumstances, if you like.
Well, I would agree with that. I've done. I've also worked in a prison setting before, and often the people that I worked with, something had happened in their childhood that had like an impact on them, and maybe limited their opportunities in life, their choices in life, and maybe ended up being involved in things they maybe wouldn't have done if they'd had support, had choices. I think you'd asked about the impact as well. So the young people, like maybe it can affect them in lots of different ways. But I'm glad that I'm getting to work with the young people when they're young as well. And I really see the value of like having early intervention work available, or early intervention support available, because I think it can make a difference. I think like difficult things happen in life, but if maybe a young person has access to support, the right support at the time they're needing it, I think it can go a long way in kind of helping them recover from what they've been through.
Yeah, okay, great. So in terms of young people seeking support, what barriers might there be in their place?
So I think the first one that comes to mind for me is funding for services, and then in turn waiting lists for services. I know young people are waiting, or can be waiting a long time to get support that they're looking for. I also think a barrier can be maybe the young person not knowing who they could talk to, or being too scared to know who they could talk to as well. So I'm glad that I feel like there has been a shift, like in schools and just kind of everyday life, that mental health is talked more about, and abuse and violence, and like schools have counsellors in the school, and that there is a lot more kind of awareness and discussion. So I hope that might help young people to be able to speak up and access support. But I think, funding just has such an impact on,
that sounds familiar.
yes, especially for I know obviously for NHS, but the third sector as well. Like, it's just getting very difficult to.
Yeah, absolutely, it definitely is. Do you think that young people are compared to previous generations, more equipped to have these conversations?
Well, I know for myself as a young person, the conversations I have with young people now, I I don't remember talking to my friends about that, or talking about or having that information at school or growing up. So I think there has been like a positive shift. Like there is like more discussion and more topics included in the school curriculum. There's nurture rooms, there's different groups for young people, so and more information out there. And obviously I think internet, like being able to, like, young people can access more information now as well. So I think there has been a shift, and young people are hopefully more able to feel like they could initiate a conversation about their mental health.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that, you know, the younger people, as they grow older and they have these things in their lexicon, and can have these conversations and have the vocabulary to do it and grow up to be healthier adults.
Yeah. I would hope so.
Yeah. Okay.
We have the wellbeing project that young people can access, and young people had told us that for them it would be difficult to access a mental health service. As you know, like, there's often stigma still in Scotland around mental health and what that might mean. But young people had told us that like, for them, accessing a mental health service would be difficult for them, and there would maybe be some stigma attached to that, some shame attached to that. So from the young people, we changed our project name to the wellbeing project, and in our work with the young people, we don't talk about we talk about mental health, but we explain what we mean by that and what our understanding of mental health is. But when we're working with the young people and talking with them, we refer to how's their sleep, how are they feeling, how's their mood been, and we use like more like different language that they're able to engage with, and we find like that's been working well, and the young people feel more able to access our service as well.
So it's, I guess, you know, is it about a sort of cultural difference in opinion on talking about mental health? Would you say that's come from?
Yeah, we have consultations with young people about our project and the development, and young people had told us that for them, like being accessing mental health, like a project called Mental Health Project Ours, had like really negative connotations, and it wouldn't be something that they would want to do or feel able to do or want people to know that they were accessing as well. So that was helpful for them to be able to share that with us, like what that meant, and also some young people, they shared that like mental health isn't spoken about at all, so their understanding of what mental health is different to how we work with it every day. So that was really really interesting to kind of have that conversation, and now we're very clear when we're talking about well-being and mental health, like what we mean by it, and we found that that's really helped the young people engage with what we do.
So, tell me about art therapy then. So, what is art therapy, and how does it improve the lives of young people?
Mm-hmm. So art therapy it's a form of psychotherapy, where like the primary way of working is with like making art, using art materials to maybe explore and express maybe difficult emotions, difficult feelings, and art therapy is like adults or children can access art therapy, and it's not about being good at art as well. It's not like an art lesson. It really is just being with an art therapist to explore maybe what feelings might be there, or and express that, and then having a chance to like safely think about that with a therapist as well, and maybe to find like some meaning to what's been created.
It must be really lovely for someone like you who has, you know, this passion about art, and you spent so much time working on that, but also to have the opportunity to merge that with something else that you're passionate about, and you know, not I guess it's not strictly unique in the sense that you're probably not the only art therapist in Scotland, but quite it seems like quite a special thing you've got to be able to offer that sort of you know, multifaceted approach to supporting someone. No, I think art therapy is growing in numbers, but it still is quite a small field, and I do feel really glad that like I've been able to kind of like combine like working with people, my interest in art, and being able to do something with that and get a lot from it as well. What do you think are the challenges of that, I guess, for yourself and maybe for the people you support?
Do you mean like difficulties around it, or maybe? So I think the first thing that came to mind was access to art therapy, like for funding for that to be available. Maybe that for a young person accessing therapy, it might not be the right time for them. So that could be a difficulty. I'm not sure. Is that what you were meaning, or what is
that kind of thing? Yeah, I mean, what barriers are in place, and that, you know, it's not something that I remember seeing or hearing about when I was growing up. I guess, you know, is I wonder if to a certain extent that it's maybe even the knowledge that it exists for young people.
I suppose I think what's good is like, so where I studied in Edinburgh, there's an art therapy course, but there's now a drama therapy course, there's now a play therapy course. So I feel like these different, and music therapy as well. So I think maybe they're still not as well known as accessible therapies for young people. But I would hope, as like more people qualify and we're we have there's a national association, and we do work to try and publicise what we do, and I would hope it would become well known, because I think like talking therapies are great, but it might not be suitable for everyone. So I think it's great to have like different options and be able to work in different ways that's right for the young person. Yeah,
I mean, I guess, you know, it's no form of therapy can be a one size fits all. So exactly. Options are really important.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we can, I would like to move on to the work you do supporting young asylum seekers. It's, you know, for someone that grew up in Scotland, it's probably very, very hard to imagine what it's like to be a young asylum seeker. So when you first meet these young people, what state is their mental health in, and how do you support with that? So
the young people that we work with are young people seeking asylum in Scotland, and they're unaccompanied young people, so they've arrived in Scotland without parents or carers, and they have access to our service for support, and also as part of that is the wellbeing project, and often, so the young people have maybe experienced in their home country like war, violence, persecution, like they've had to leave their country in search of safety, but also they may have experienced violence on their journey as well. So often when they arrive in Scotland, they're scared, they're maybe not sure who to trust, it's a like different language, different country, different weather, and often maybe they have sleep difficulties, and worries, anxiety, so lots of kind of difficult feelings and emotions going on for them, and our project, we provide groups and activities, workshops, and one-to-one some one-to-one support to help the young people kind of build a sense of safety, adjust to their new life, meet other young people. The reason why we do the groups is often the young people might worry they're the only person that feels like this, or not maybe understand how they're feeling as well. So the groups are a really good space to kind of normalise what they're feeling and what they're going through, and for them to realise as well that it's not just them that feels like that, but also making some new friends as well, in a new country.
You know, it sounds like a silly comparison to make, but, you know, my 3-year-old son recently moved up to the big group at swimming, and I got a wee bit sort of misty-eyed as he went off into this new group on his own. But to think about a child, you know, having come from, you know, well, if you're an asylum seeker, you're fleeing something awful, you know, persecution, or, you know, we know some of the atrocities that are happening in the world just now, and to go from that to a completely different country where you probably don't speak the language. You almost certainly don't speak Glaswegian. Yeah. You know, and likely unaccompanied as well. You know, that must be terrifying for a child.
Yeah, and I think it can be very difficult, and that's why like social work and our service and other agencies, like we kind of work together to try and support the young person, but also the young person, like they've came through a lot, and we work with like those strengths that they've already got, and it can be really, really good to work with the young people, and see them develop from and start to recover from what they've been through, and having that kind of hope for the future as well.
So for us, you know, for those young asylum seekers that you support, and you talked about how they recover, I'm curious as to what does recovery look like for a young asylum seeker?
Well, I think it's different. Well, I think recovery for anyone is very, very individual, and it's the same kind of premise for a young person seeking asylum. The work we do, young people, some young people will access like our groups, and for them, that can be enough, because we show them kind of coping strategies and relaxation techniques and ways to kind of manage their trauma symptoms. So for some young people, that's what they want to do, and they don't wish to kind of access any further support. Some young people may want to get some support from other services, and we would work with other services and refer them on. So that might be that they would access like psychological support, art therapy, talking therapies, whatever might work for them, and that might be what they need, or what they're able to do at this time. So I think it does vary, depending on how the young person's wanting to manage or cope with what they've been through.
Yeah, that must be, I guess, for you, it must be very challenging and probably sometimes heartbreaking, but also very rewarding for you to work in a role like that.
Yeah. It really is. Like I feel it's actually a privilege to work with the young people that we support, and we and seeing like them starting to sleep a bit better and feel a bit better, and they're learning English, they're learning Glaswegian as well, which is which is funny, and just kind of like integrating into their new community, finding friends and getting settled, and then going on with the rest of their life. So being able to kind of be beside a young person as they're going through that is it's lovely. It's very very rewarding.
Yeah, it must be. Okay, Lorna, so coming up to the end now, can you tell us a little bit about how people can find out more about what you do? So are you mean like Aberlour, the Aberlour service? Aberlour, therapy, everything, yeah. Really.
So the our Aberlour website has information about all the services that we do, and contact details for the different services, where our different services are. So if anybody is looking for more information, I would direct them to our Aberlour website, and all the information would be there for them.
People could just give that a Google, really.
Yes, or Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, sorry.
Okay, Lorna, I'm very, very grateful for your time. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing, this lovely thing that you do, the lovely things that you do, and yeah, it's been really educational for me to hear about these things.
Oh no, thank you for having me. It's been lovely to meet you.